How to order a custom rear end. Today, we're going to go over some of the details. Hi, I'm John Henson for Currie Enterprises, and today I want to talk about how to order a custom rear end. We have literally measurements on hundreds of different applications that we keep on file. But if you're going to build something that's off the wall or totally custom, here's a couple of the things that we would like to get from you so that we can make sure we're doing this correct. Now, the first thing is really going to be how wide does the rear end need to be? From wheel mount to wheel mount, or we abbreviate that WMS, wheel mounting surface. And what that is actually the surface that the wheel bolts up to, the face of the brake. And we want to get a measurement from that point all the way across to the other side in inches, down to the 1/8 of an inch as accurately as you possibly can get. Two different ways you can do that. If you have the stock rear end, you can measure that and say, hey, I need that narrowed down to 2 inches on each side, right? So 4 inches total. So if you've got a stock rear end that measures 60 inches and you know you want to take 2 inches off of each side, no problem. Just supply that measurement to us and then we'll build it to that. The other way that you could do that is mock your wheel and tire underneath your car and give us a measurement in between from wheel mount to wheel mount. How wide does it need to be? Check out our previous video on how to measure WMS. Second piece of information that we're going to need to know is where is the drive shaft located, right? So we call that the pinion location. What we want to know is where does it measure in relation to center. So measure your WMS, your whole width, and then right down the middle. Okay, is the drive shaft to the left an inch, to the right an inch, and where does it need to be located so that the drive shaft is right down the tunnel of the vehicle. Super important, right? So that way the drive shaft doesn't rub on anything. Next thing we're going to need to know is how does it mount to the vehicle? This rear end here is obviously a leaf spring, right? So we would need to know, hey, this is a leaf sprung car, and where do the leaf springs need to go? Tape measure is going to be your friend there, and what we want to do is measure from the center of one leaf spring pad all the way across to the center of the other leaf spring pad. And if you can tell us that measurement in inches, then we'll know the distance between the two and we'll center it on the rear end. The other piece of that information that we're going to need is at what angle do we weld these on? You're going to need an angle finder for that one. And if you have your existing rear end, what you're going to do is we're actually going to set your pinion at 90 degrees. 90 degrees, basically so it's adjacent to the floor. And once you have that set, you're going to take your angle finder, put it on the leaf spring pad, and tell us at what angle does that need to be. This happens to be 9 degrees. So with your pinion at 90, these are going to get welded at 9 degrees pointed down. So -9. If it's +9 to be up, okay? And once you supply that information to us, we'll know where to put the leaf spring pads for you. If it happens to be a 4-link that you're building and it's from a popular company like RideTech, Detroit Speed, TCI, and many others, they actually supply a print on where those need to go, and so that you can supply those brackets and that drawing to us so that we can take a look at it, make sure it's going to work with the rear end that we're building for you, and quote what it would cost to weld those in place for you. The next piece of information that we're going to need to know is what bolt pattern do we need? Could be 4-lug, could be 5-lug, could be 6-lug. We can make axles in any of those three. So measure the bolt pattern, and if you need help with that, visit our previous video on how to measure a bolt pattern. We'll also need to know what brakes do you need. Do we need to match something on the front, or is it a name brand brake that we need to match on the rear? It could be a stock brake. If it's a stock brake on the front, we have an Explorer brake package that looks very OE. Also, what gear ratio? How much horsepower do you make? So what we would like to know is what motor do you have, what transmission do you have, and what is the diameter of the rear tire? All of those three things are going to help us better recommend the appropriate gear ratio that we would suggest running. So that way we can go over at a certain mile per hour what the RPM might be on your current project. And then also, what's the use? Is it going to be a drag race car? Is it going to be autocross? Is it going to be mainly street? And be very honest about that when you talk to our techs. So that way we can be really honest with what we would suggest doing. Don't call and say it's going to be a drag race car that you never drag race. We really want to cater this to your build. And then that way you'll get the correct build for the horsepower, the street, and for the driving that you're going to be using it for. If you have any questions on regards to how to measure or what's best for you, please feel free to give us a call, send us an email, or leave a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe here. For more tech videos, click here. And for more Currie content, click here. Thanks for watching, guys.